Hey everybody, welcome to the AI Guide where we focus on the human impact of AI, and very interesting story today. So this past week, Boston Dynamics released a new Spot video. The video was of Spot working inside of an AB Inbev beer factory. So this was very interesting to watch for a few reasons. The first is that there hadn't been a lot of talk in all the craziness over AI in the last year about AI in manufacturing environments. But here on this channel, we've talked a few different times about the roles that AI can play in terms of improving quality control by using AI-enabled sensors to check product coming off of the assembly line for quality. So that's one way. Another way is robotics, AI-enabled robotics, loading and unloading pieces of equipment. And of course, we've talked often about how robotics has been used in the auto industry going all the way back to the 60s. And I just very recently did a video on a near fully automated car factory to make small quantities of cars in Singapore. But this video was about another aspect of AI. So all factories require significant continuing maintenance. And the bigger the factory, the greater the need for that. Why? Because you have many, many more pieces of operating equipment, and all those pieces of equipment have motors and other things that need constant maintenance. So in manufacturing, one of the biggest costs is downtime, right? In a huge factory, an hour of downtime can cost a company several millions of dollars, just 1 hour of downtime. So in these large-scale production environments, and even mid-sized production environments, reducing downtime is critical. Why? Because that additional uptime where the equipment is actually making product that can be sold greatly enhances the profit of a manufacturing company. Much more than the base amount of production. Why? Because most of the costs have already been absorbed, and that what's called incremental production, most of it except for direct materials, falls straight to the bottom line of profitability. Why? Because the expense of the people is already incurred. So if I can get 120 units instead of 100 out of an hour of production, that reduces the cost per piece and makes that product much more profitable. So what's interesting is what Spot was doing. Spot was going around this factory, huge factory, that basically runs 24/7. And in particular, they were focusing on the packaging line that put all of the beer into the various size packages, 6-pack, 12-pack, etc. And these packaging lines have a lot of motors and pulleys and moving parts that can fail at any time. So this particular Spot had been outfitted with an infrared camera that can see heat, and what was basically a giant microphone to listen for noises. And for the heat part, what Spik Can Do is see parts on the equipment line, the manufacturing line, that are starting to overheat and therefore require maintenance. So with that knowledge, before the actual piece of equipment breaks and shuts down and takes the whole line down, a company can stage a replacement part there and either swap out the part while the machinery keeps running, or have everything there and ready and very quickly swap the part out, and then the downtime is minimal. So it turns out that Spot is really, really helping this huge beer manufacturing company save a bunch of money. So what does this mean for us humans? Well, I think it's okay, and I'll tell you why. Because it is so expensive to have people wandering around this massive factory. They said it was the size of either 23 or 36 soccer fields. So this is a massive factory, and it would take a tremendous number of people to walk all around this facility with infrared cameras or listening devices, and I'll talk about that in a second, to do what Spot is doing in a fully automated way by itself. So the companies, because the expense of doing it the old-fashioned way is so high, they choose not to do it and let the equipment shut down and replace the parts. So Spot, in that sense, in this situation, is not displacing any human beings. He is preventing the equipment from shutting down, which the company previously was just allowing because it was too expensive. So with no humans being affected, this is a great application of AI, right? Because fully autonomous Spot, courtesy of AI, can keep this equipment running. Higher productivity equals more output, and most often that higher productivity results in lower prices because the company, because their cost per unit is lowered, can then sell it for less and still make the same profit on each unit. So this is a great application of AI and one that doesn't really negatively affect people. And now that the use case for this has been proven, and they used it at another factory at AB Inbev that's in the United States, the use case is now proven. We'll start to see this spread globally and to other industries and other companies. What was the sound piece of this? All of these production lines use pressure. So there are pressure hoses or vacuum lines on almost all manufacturing equipment, and those leak. The rubber degrades, a connecting joint may go bad. There's a lot of things that can happen, but suffice it to say that this microphone can pick up the sound of a leak before a human can hear it and before the equipment shuts down and the production line then shuts down. So that's a second great aspect of what Boston Dynamics has enabled Spot to do for this particular company. So once all these use cases get out there, then companies who are risk averse, which is most companies don't want to be at the vanguard and they don't want to be trying new technologies because they're hard to figure out. They're expensive to implement, but once someone has shown them it works, then they want to do it. Why? Because then mass production of the technology, in this case Spot, begins and the unit cost of that falls, and then Spot gets cheaper and cheaper and cheaper, and more companies start to use it. So this is very interesting stuff. This is on YouTube right now. It's a Boston Dynamics video, so check that out. But this is a good, proactive, and positive use of AI-driven robotic technology that keeps production lines running and therefore lowers costs, which therefore can lower price. So thanks so much for tuning in. If you like this, please like, subscribe, and share. Also be sure to support us on Patreon. $1 a month, $2 a month makes a huge difference. Please support us on Patreon. Thank you so much. Take care. Have a great week. Bye.